What do films like Paranormal Activity, Insidious, and Get Out have in common? Sure, they're all pretty scary, but that's not the answer we're looking for. They all have the same wizard behind the curtain. His name, Jason Blum. The company, Blumhouse Productions. You could almost say that everything Jason touches turns to gold, and that's largely due to the enormous passion he has for his job as a producer.
I don't ever want to direct a movie. I'm never going to direct a movie. I'm never going to write a movie. So I really think a great producer has to enjoy the process of pulling your hair out and going crazy and really not taking no for an answer. And so what we try and do is create an environment for really creative people like James and Lee to do what they want to do safely, which I think results in, more often than not, results in good movies. But I think that's kind of the key to being a good producer is being able to get out of your own way and let the writer-director do what they want to do.
And that's a big part of the way Jason works, giving the writers and directors all of the creative freedom. Take M. Night Shyamalan, for example, who of course has made some very good and, well, some not so good movies. When he and Jason worked together for 2015's The Visit, they managed to turn a budget of just $5 million into a profit of almost $100 million.
You kind of do this, and Tyler, like, she's waiting. You're in front of the camera, and you're like, you know?
Showing it to Jason the first time was really my first indicator. I was like, did I make too weird and too different a movie? And when he gave me kind of his like, this is gonna be great, I was like, great, let's go do this.
I also think there's a lot to be said in the creative process for going quickly. Movies, a lot of time it doesn't happen, but I think when you do lower budgets, the work goes faster, and I think oftentimes better things come out of that as a result of not belaboring decisions too much.
Which leads us to the biggest factor that makes Blumhouse Productions such a huge success. From relatively small budgets, they make huge profits. The best example is, of course, the first Paranormal Activity film, which cost just $15,000 to make and grossed $193 million. Or 2017's Get Out, which earned no less than 4 Oscar nominations and even won one for Best Screenplay, as well as raking in $255 million on a budget of only $4.5 million. This isn't to say that every single film Blumhouse touches has been such a huge success, but in general, they've done fairly well. To decide which projects Blum will take on as a producer, he really only has one simple rule.
There's not a single, we've done a lot of movies, there's not a single movie that I haven't done that at the moment I think is amazing. Now, if a few years goes by, I look back on some of our movies, I'm like, that was better than that, this was better than that. But when you're in the middle of it, you can't work as hard on the movie and not love it. So even if you don't wind up loving it eventually, when you're in the heat of it, you have to love it.
And even though he gives the writers and directors total creative freedom, Jason does have an opinion about what qualities a good scary movie and its director should have.
To direct an effective scary movie, you have to have all the things a director of a drama has, plus you really have to know how to choreograph and direct a scare. It's much more complicated than you would think. And I think a good horror movie also has to work. If you took the scares out, the drama that plays out has to work as a great drama. And then you lay the scares in and it works. If you take the scares out and the drama doesn't work, the scares aren't going to be scary anyway.
Tommy, please stop, please, you killed him, you can't do this. Please stop, please.
So to summarize, if Jason Blum believes in a project, you can be pretty sure it's gonna be a success. With a minimal budget, he gives the filmmakers freedom to create what they want and doesn't interfere with the process. Finally, we leave you with Jeff Wadlow, director of the 2018 scary flick Truth or Dare, who perfectly describes the success of Jason Blum and his Blumhouse Productions.
And action!
He really is changing the business in a profound way. I think, 100 years from now in film schools, just like I studied David O. Selznick's career, people are going to study Jason Blum's career because he is, he's changing things, and it was really just a pleasure to work with him because what he does is so smart. He's both very hands-on and hands-off. Like he's hands-on at the critical moments, the big idea, but then he steps back and he lets go and he lets filmmakers do their jobs. I've said before, it's micro budget, no micromanaging. And that's why I think ultimately the films work, because they have a point of view. People are allowed to say something with the film. They're not told to do it one way when they believe that they should be doing it another way. Because when you let people do it the way they think they should, you get something authentic.
Cut! Good. That's really good.
Like what you see? Subscribe to our channel for more exclusive clips.